死体が出ないのは当然よ。だって生贄の儀式は犠牲者を鬼ヶ淵の沼に沈めることなんだもの。あの沼は一度沈めば二度と浮き上がることはないと言われる底なしの沼。死体なんて出ようはずもない。
じゃあ毎年のもう一人の犠牲者はみんな沼の底に沈んでると？
Does that mean Satoshi-kun is also at the bottom of that dark green swamp?
さあ、本当に沼の底に沈められているかはわからないわ。でも連続事件を起こしている人たちがそれを意識して一人を消していることは間違いないと思うわね。
Each year, a traitor to the village dies on the day of Watanagashi because of Yashiro-sama's curse. Another person is sacrificed in order to pacify Yashiro-sama's anger. That person's body will never be found, because he or she is supposedly thrown into the bottomless swamp.
そう、つまりHinamizawa村連続開始事件というのはたたりとそれを鎮めるための生贄の2つでセットになったもの。そしてそれを毎年繰り返すことによってダム戦争時の旧敵を毎年2人ずつ殺していけるシステムのことを指しているの。私の話は省略しすぎてるからね。多分ちょっと信じがたいとは思う。だからこそあなたに預けた研究ノートをね、内容を理解できたなら私の話がそういい加減なものでもないことがわかるはず。
I heard a man's voice just then. A middle-aged man with a hat was waving at Mio-san from the entrance. Oh, there's Clyde. I was wondering where you were.
ごめんなさい。待ち人が来たみたい。もっとゆっくり話がしたかったのに。でも機会はまだこれからもあるでしょうしね。
Alright, well, I am sure we will. Bye, Bonnie.
そのノートはそれまで預けておくわね。中身をよく読んで理解できたなら、私のいい話し相手になってくれるのを楽しみにしているわね。
Alright, well, bye. See you in the next chapter. Just like every single chapter so far, she comes and goes, just like that. Mio-san wrapped up the conversation and headed to where the man was waiting for her. She left her old notebooks in my hands. Mio-san waved at me as she left the library with her companion. I took a seat again and opened what she'd given me. What bugged me was the series of mysterious deaths, also known as the curse over Yashiro-sama. Maybe I'd be able to get closer to the truth by reading these notebooks. If I studied them carefully, I might be able to find out who was really behind the incident. I mean, this is coming from Mio Takano herself, who I have my eyes on as well, so having this on us, this could give us some new clues. Then again, I do get the feeling that by us doing this, we're playing into Mio's fingers a little bit, whatever her goal is in this entire thing. We still gotta find out, like, what is, like, Mio Takano's and Tomitake's role in this entire story, like what their connection is to this village, you know. They haven't been a mystery even to this point. Why did Satoshi-kun have to disappear? What was he involved in? How did that happen? Maybe Takano's notes will be... Yeah, let's go. Come on. Let's not keep repeating the same question. Research notes, Mio Takano. Okay, there you go. I started flipping the pages, this time making sure that no one was watching over my shoulder. It was time for the library to close. I had to leave. I bought some food on my way home. I shut my door and locked it right away. Then I heard the door of the neighboring apartment open. Kasai lived next door. Nobody else lived on this floor of the nearly empty apartment building anyway. I clearly heard the door open and close. And Kasai must have noticed that I came home and was coming over because he wanted to talk to me. I unlocked the door and shouted out to him.
葛西なの？鍵は開いてますよ。葛西さんじゃないよ、シオン。
Oh, that voice. I twitched.
入るよ。どうぞ、おね。
The door slowly opened. My alter ego, Mion Sonozaki, appeared. She was holding a box of cake, while smiling timidly.
どうぞ上がってって言うまで玄関に突っ立ってるつもりですか？どうぞ上がって。全然可愛くない部屋で申し訳ないけどね。落ち着いた雰囲気のとこだね。
Sis looked a bit tense when entering my room. It was her first time here.
生活はどう？
A life with free fingernails less. How about yours?
新しい学校はやっぱりつまらないです。一応通ってはいますけど、気分が乗らないときはサボらせてもらってます。全寮制だとなかなかそうはいかないですからね。センルチはやっぱり辛かったが。チェ、お姉も一度閉じ込められてみろってんです。ごめんごめん。ケーキ買ってきたからさ、食べよ。
Alright. Mion opened the box. I saw 2 cheesecakes there. We have the same taste in food, so we don't have to fight if we get 2 of the same thing. I chatted with her over the cheesecake. I talked to her about school and whatnot.
必要な家具とかがあったら言ってね。融通できるかもしれないから。この部屋にもようやく馴染んできたとこだけど、近いうちに引き払うかもしれないから、家具はノーサンキューです。うちのお父さんが沖宮に住むつもりなら戻ってこいってうるさいんですよ。お父さんに会いたくないんだけど、かといって逆らうのも怖いしな。お父さんもシオンがいなくなって寂しそうだったから、なんだかんだ言っても帰ってきたら喜ぶと思うよ。チェー、人事だと思って。
Come to think of it, this was the first time I talked to Sis since I was allowed to live as Shion Sonozaki. She didn't look like how she was at the Sonozaki house that day. The successor of the Sonozaki family and my twin sister are 2 different people. The demon lives inside the leader of the Sonozakis. Our bodies are exactly the same, except for the tattoo of a demon on her back. Mion's destiny as the successor was set in stone when she got that tattoo. It's pretty simple. The Mion from that night was different from the Mion before me. When I was forced to tear off my fingernails, I had momentarily despised her. But if I were the next leader of the family, I'd have done the same. Okay. Well, I don't know if I should say surprisingly. Like, I'm giving Shion a lot of credit, like, in thinking rationally about this sort of stuff. Even though she has lost her marbles in chapter 2. Like, you know, like, as much as I was miffed about Shion's behavior when it comes to Satoko, it is on par with chapter 2, and it was to be expected. I didn't expect it to come that early, but it is to be expected. But besides that, Shion is quite a rational person when it comes to this. So, I don't know, on one hand, I can see why she turned the way she was. She was the way she was in chapter 2, but at the same time, kind of hard to believe that in some cases. Sometimes she can be rational, other times she can be a little bit different because of her family situation and circumstances and all that, the way she was raised. So I'm really curious how it's all gonna turn out.
シオン、爪は治った？もうすっかり傷口は塞がったからね。最近は目立つのがかえって嫌なんで、包帯みたいなのもしてないです。でもまだだいぶいびつでね、あまり人には見せられないかな。
I sneered at her, displaying my incomplete fingernails. Mion grew quiet and looked down.
謝らなくていいよ。ミオンだって、あそこは仕方なかったんだからさ。次期当主の役割を演じただけ。恨んじゃいないから。ごめんね。オッケー。その謝罪で私は全部チャラにした。でも、もう一度謝ったらそれは取り消し。一生許さないよ。何それ。お姉は一度謝りモードに入るとなかなか抜けられない悪い癖がありますからね。私の方で区切らないとキリがないんです。
Sounds like someone else that I know.
本当に許してくれるの？サトシとのことも。
My heart ached when she mentioned his name. He felt just like the ache of an old wound.
シオンがサトシのことを好きなのは、もちろんあれだけ大勢の前で熱愛宣言しちゃいましたからね。なんだか今さら恥ずかしくもなんともないや。でもバッチャはあれで本当にけじめがついたと思ってるんだよ。シオンがちゃんと自分でけじめをつけてみせたから、それで全部終わりって。そうでなきゃ困ります。あれだけ痛い思いしたんですから。サトシ、どこに行ったんだろうね。
I started choking when I heard her say that. I just said it to her myself. I said I had forgiven her completely. But that promise instantly evaporated. Just because of what she said, I felt like I turned into a completely different person. What did you just say, Mion? Did you say, I wonder where Satoshi-kun disappeared to? Who else could know other than you and your folks? Okay, so remember that talk that I had like a couple of minutes ago about sometimes being rational and other times acting like this? Yeah, like at the flip of a switch, like a complete 180. What did you say? Where did he go? Felt my eyeballs reddening in anger. Felt as though they were about to pop. I choked on a burning sensation in my throat. Mion's expression rapidly changed. It looked like she noticed the devil's mask on my face. We were one and the same. We could understand each other's thoughts without voicing them. Just showing our expressions was like unveiling everything in our hearts to the other.
ごめん。
Even though I had told her not to apologize anymore, Mion apologized. Oh boy. Felt like strangling her. It's going to make her confess where she'd hid Satoshi-kun. If she told me she threw him into the Onigafuchi swamp, I'd strangle her to death right then and there.
サトシのことは本当に知らないの。
Oh god. Shion. That's a lie.
本当。バッチャだって何も知らない。本当なの。嘘だ嘘だ嘘だ。 じゃあ本当にお社様のたたりで鬼隠しにあったとでも言うつもりなのか。たたりなんてあるもんか、たたりなんてあるもんか。
Words kept coming out of my mouth. I was chanting a spell. I wasn't speaking by my own will anymore. He was the demon who was controlling me. The demon that had been sleeping deep inside me woke up and was speaking through my mouth. My hands, the demon's hands, grabbed Mion by the neck.
お前たちがサトシ君を鬼隠しにしたんだ。お前たちその先本家が、お前たちが返して、私のサトシ君を返して。
My hand slowly but surely squeezed Mion's neck. Mion put her hands onto mine. I looked at her fingers. 3 of the fingernails on her left hand looked as ugly as mine.
ミオ、これはどうしたの？
What? Tears rolled down her cheeks. She didn't have to answer. She had the same scars as I did. She had toned as well. The way those wounds were healing looked the same as mine. So, did she get these wounds around the same time as I did?
シオンだけが爪を剥がされるなんてかわいそうすぎるんだもん。
Mion started sobbing. I stood there, petrified, still wringing Neo's neck.
シオンがね、サトシのことを好きだって分かって、私、シオンとサトシに幸せになってほしかったんだよ。だって、シオンばっかり、いつもかわいそうで、私たちは同じ双子なのに、なんでシオンばっかり、いつも差別され、
It didn't come as a surprise to me that Mion might also loved Satoshi-kun as I did. We've always liked the same stuff, and even the same people. She was stupid enough to feel obligated towards someone like me.
私ね、ばっちゃにね、怒鳴って言ったんだよ。シオンとサトシをそっとしてあげてほしいって。そしたら、けじめをつけたら見逃そうという話になって。だからね、ちゃんとシオンが頑張ったから、もうね、二人は普通に過ごしてもよかったんだよ。なのに、サトシいなくなっちゃった。こんなのひどいよね。
Mion isn't smart enough to shed crocodile tears. Those tears were the real deal. Her tears dissolved my demon's anger, like how the sun melts ice. I just let it go. Just wash it away. Let your anger dissolve, Shion.
信じて、シオン。本当にサトシがどうしていなくなってしまったのか、わからないの。
I believe you, Mion. I do.
園崎家とかバッチャとか、本当にそういうのは何も関わってないの。
I do believe you in that one.
バッチャはシオンのけじめで全てを許した。だからサトシに何かするなんて絶対にないの。ミオ、ごめん。苦しかった。
I took my hands off her neck and held her instead. Alright, there you go. Just hug it out. Come on. You are sisters. You love each other no matter what.
苦しくなんかないよ。 シオンはもっともっと苦しかったんだよね。
I shouted at the demon in my mind. I believed in Mion. I had been convinced it was the Sonozaki family that made Satoshi-kun disappear. But Mion denied it, while shedding tears. Between her and me, her tears are more convincing than any words. Man, you know, as I said, like, it's like a roller coaster when it comes to Shion. Like, now that this happened right over here, with Mion basically crying in front of you, saying that the family had nothing to do with this, and how deeply hurt Mion is that you, Shion, have to suffer like this. Once again, it surprises me that Chapter 2 still happened nonetheless. That you would do such a thing to your sister. That you'd still hold a grudge against Mion even after this. After clearly showing how much she loves you. Like, it's really something, not gonna lie. Like, I feel sorry for both of you. So, I'd believe in her. Yeah, absolutely, it wasn't the Sonozaki family that made him disappear. So, do you really think that Satoshi couldn't disappear because of Yashiro-sama's curse? I don't believe in curses. And Mion didn't do it. If it wasn't the curse or the Sonozaki family, who demoned him away? I don't know. I just know it's not Mion. It's not the Sonozaki family because Mion says so. That's stupid, Shion. Are you going to ignore Satoshi-kun's voice? I know. You don't have to remind me, demon. I can hear his voice. I know he's mumbling with an ambivalent expression, like he always used to do, even though he knows help won't come. I'll help him no matter what. I'll save him if he's alive. I'll avenge him if he's dead. But Mion didn't do it. You just want to take it out on somebody. It doesn't matter who. But I'm Shion, not a demon. You're only a part of me. Don't try to take control. Fuck off. Don't ever show up again. The demon faded away. My body went limp, and I fell to the floor while holding Mion.
シオン、大丈夫？もう大丈夫だよ、ミオン。私たちはどうしてミオンとシオンなんだろうね。どうして同じ一人であってはいけないんだろうね。やめなよ。私たちはもう何度もそれを自問してきたよ。でも答えなんか出ない。現実に私とあなたはミオンとシオン。それが現実。私ね、自分がミオンでもシオンでもどっちでもいいんだよ。私たちは私たち。公平な関係でいたいのに。仕方がないよ。ミオンの背中には鬼が宿ってる。闘志を継ぐ定めが宿ってる。それは仕方がない。私、嫌だ。鬼なんかいらない。鬼なんかいらない。私は鬼じゃない。鬼じゃない。同じ人間なのがいい。
Mion is a demon, and Shion is a human. Even though we're twins, there's a difference between us. Was it impossible for humans to live with demons after all? It should be possible, because they did it before. That's the legend of Hinamizawa. humans and demons lived in harmony together, as Oyashiro-sama watched over them. Mion, Shion, Satoshi-kun, demons, humans. Oyashiro-sama's curse, the series of mysterious deaths, Satoshi-kun's disappearance. We fell asleep while holding each other, while holding everything. Phew. Man, that was powerful. Yeah. I guess so. It only empowered my belief in me even more that it's not the Sonozaki's. If Mion says so, then it's not the Sonozaki's that did this. But god damn it, I have like so little to work with here. If it's not the Sonozaki's. Like, who are these people? These unknown people that like have like no connection to Hinamizawa up until this point. I saw Mio Takano a few times after that. At her core, she was fascinated with the bizarre, and she had an insatiable curiosity that was just as strong. I had to remind myself not to take her story too seriously. Otherwise, I might start believing that Satoshi can disappear because of the curse. She talks about the dark history of Hinamizawa a lot. It's all very interesting. Her theories are based on nothing but conjecture, but some of her intuition covers facts that only members of the Sonozaki family would know. Is that so? Well, we did see her get inside the ritual storehouse in chapter 2, so it's not that big of a surprise to think that the Mio, she snoops around where she's not even allowed, which would include in like places where the Sonozaki would forbid entry. Though, we do know that she enters the ritual storehouse in 1983. Before that though, I wonder what her sources for all this is. I mean, no doubt that Shion might end up being one source, but other than that, it kind of makes me curious how she does her research. She thinks that Oyashiro-sama's curse is the continuation of these ancient rituals. Unless she is a Sonozaki as well! Maybe. She dyed her hair. She was originally green. In other words, she believes that the curse is performed by religious fanatics. According to her theory, a religious cult once existed in Hinamizawa, and the three families stemmed from it. She believes that they are operating behind the scenes in order to revive the dignity of the Orikafuchi people, which was lost during the Meiji era. Dignity schmiggity. Mio-san's theories are far-reaching, and looking at them on a larger scale, they end up making a lot of sense. But they can't offer any explanation for Satoshi-kun's disappearance when using them on a smaller one. Her theories are just too broad. Okay. I exchange information with Oishi every now and then. We'd each expect new leads from each other, but neither of us had any luck. I no longer believe the tip that Satoshi-kun might have headed to Tokyo. It was clearly bogus anyway. Although I cannot defend Oishi, he is being fair about the deal. He alone has been serious about uncovering any new information. Oishi's sources are quite reliable, so whenever I found some dubious tip, I check with him to see if it was valid. My meetings with him have diminished in frequency since he's been assigned to new cases. Eventually, we stopped meeting entirely. Oishi stopped investigating and I reached the limits of my sources for information. People now think that Satoshi-kun's disappearance was a supernatural phenomenon called dimming away. In Hinamizawa, they refer to his disappearance as him having transferred, and nobody would talk about it otherwise. I don't like the way that phrase is used to raise him. Alright, well, nothing. During the upheaval surrounding Oyashiro-sama's curse in 1982, I was pulled this way and that by new leads on Satoshi-kun's disappearance. Every time I found information that looked promising, I kept changing my theories. But that also became an incredible burden on me. It wore me down plenty on its own. The fatigue was harsh, but it also provided a very kind acceptance. Bit by bit, it soothed away the anger, sadness, and doubt that wore me down. I'll never forget Satoshi-kun. I'll never try to forget him and move on. I constantly repeated those to myself in my head. I repeated them to keep my memories of Satoshi-kun from fading too, over and over. For the sake of my fond memories of Satoshi-kun, together with my fear and my sadness, I repeated them forever and ever. Alrighty then.
「淡くて儚いシャボン玉のような恋心」「空を望めばやがて壊れて消えるように」少女の思いは虚しく叶わなかった。流した涙は血の色となって生贄を求め、口をついた悲しみは怒りとなって殺意を生み出してゆく。純粋すぎる黒はすべてを飲み込んで闇を広げる。やがては自分自身さえも。目明かし。生まれてこなければよかったのか。血みどろの手は虚空すらつかめなかった。
1983. The fourth year of the series of mysterious deaths in Ozawa, also known as Oyashiro-sama's curse, 1 year after Satoshi Hojo's disappearance. Who was that, though? That is a voice that I surely do not recognize. Sounded like a young girl's voice. I hadn't been able to get used to my new school in Okinomiya, but I had some friends there now. Since I got a part-time job at my relative's store, I had some extra pocket money too. I ended up living with my parents after all, so I didn't have to pay for living expenses. Oh. It felt great to get to freely spend the money I earned from working. I still use the room Kasai set up for me from time to time. It was a convenient hideout for when I didn't want to see my parents. Okay, so you have 2 locations now. Now you get to spend time with your parents. The dad, who is a Yakuza boss, and also the mother, Akane. In fact, I was planning to spend a day there too.
ちくしょう、先行め。サボりのことを家に連絡しやがって。
My dad got upset, and that was why I didn't want to stay at home. I had been asking for it though. Alright, well, back to the life of a teenager once more. I've been missing that for a little bit. My teacher should know that my dad is a Yakuza, and that he gets really scary when he's mad. You know, it is at times like this that it kind of makes me question how it will feel to go through a story, through a high school story. Yeah, on this channel, that is. I've asked that myself like quite a few times in the past. Like, I feel like whenever the time will come for me to retire from the detective work in the distant future, it'll be the time when I'll be dabbing into some other genres of stories. Like maybe high school romances. Because there are some that would be lovely for me to go through. Either new or even old ones that I've read. Like for example, it sure reminds me of the days when I went through the story of Clannad. And that surely would be quite a special adventure to go through on this channel once again in the future. But when it comes to stories that I've already read, I don't really have like a particular rule against that. I mean, me personally, I am gonna, like, I would love to go through a story again on this channel. Like any kind of story, like even if it's not blind anymore. I'm sure there's still going to be some enjoyment out of that, in my eyes. I know that some people are going to disagree with me on that one, but yeah. My channel, my rules. But yeah, until then, still gotta figure out the mystery of this story. On the whole, my life had been going well so far, except that it was boring. I mean, imagine me going through Move like again on this channel. It was quite an experience, that's for sure. The reason I could enjoy this lifestyle is probably because I had to live in secret before. It was a great relief to be able to live without having to fake my identity. Yeah. Well, that might have been a valuable experience. I think I learned from it. I was going grocery shopping and thought I'd get enough food for a week or so. My parents would appreciate my presence more after missing me for a week. I was doing this for their sakes.
あれ？今日って確か100円セールのお店ってなかったっけ？
Oh, well, we should go for that one.
そうだそうだ、間違いない。
I knew how to save my pocket money. I was in a good mood. I spent it out with my arms spread out. Yeah. I felt like I was inside a little whirlwind. You're a good kid, Shion. And despite the difficult past and what you did, you are a good kid who deserves happiness as well. No. My arm hit a motorcycle parked on the sidewalk. It obviously wasn't where it was supposed to be. Are you kidding me? We're doing this again.
何？こんなとこに止めてるの誰？
God damn it, I gave the motorcycle a kick down the station. Shion. There were 3 motorcycles lined up in a row. They all fell like dominoes. It was beautiful, and so much fun. Uh-oh. This was odd. I felt like I'd gone through the exact same experience before. While blinking my eyes in an effort to recall when that was, some people grabbed me by the neck and dragged me into the dark alley. Are you kidding me? Again? It looked like these punks were the owners of those motorcycles. They started shouting at me. This really was strange. I was having deja vu. Fuck. That's right. It was when I met Satoshi-kun for the first time. He came to save me. If I pretended to cry again now, would he come to save me again? Okay. Now I guess we shall go for some new bits right over here, ladies and gents. Is Keiichi gonna come over here and save Shion? Because that would be a new one. I made a wish. Actually, now that I'm thinking about it, this is 1983. I guess we are gonna go through a new 1983 as well in this. It's not just 1982. Wait, this is mean? Oh god. Folks, I think it is time. We may finally be able to see Keiichi's sprites! Hopefully. Unless we're gonna see like doodles of Keiichi. Maybe? And I started pretending to cry and beg for mercy. At that time, I thought in my ears.
いい加減にしやがれ。もう泣いてるじゃねえかよ。
He was a boy about my age. I couldn't quite see his face because of the light illuminating him from behind. Keiichi, my boy! I haven't seen you in a little bit, to be quite honest. Ever since chapter 3. Ooh, that's been a little bit.
Satoshi-kun?
Nope. It is the one and only. Of course, it couldn't be him. It couldn't be. Oh! When I snapped out of my daydream, I realized that it wasn't Satoshi-kun after all. Keiichi, my boy, you have transcended! You have transcended with new sprites finally. He looked less gracious than Satoshi-kun, so to speak. Actually, you know, that is a topic that I wanted to discuss. Like, eventually. Now that we've seen, like, how Satoshi was in the past, I was actually a little bit surprised that his personality was quite drastically different from Keiichi. Like, up until this point, we've been accustomed to the idea that they were quite similar to each other, thanks to Rena and all that, and Mion and Shion and such. But they are quite different in personality. Keiichi, he is quite something. Satoshi-kun was pristine and untouched, and this guy would have scratches all over him, yeah? But although they were completely different, I got a similar impression from him somehow. The boy looked a bit taken aback.
いや、もう泣いてるんだから、それくらいで勘弁してあげてもいいんじゃないかな、なんて。あ？なことを命にされとんじゃおらか！うわー！たま、暴力は良くないぜ。
Oh, you and your cause on my ass. What was up with this guy? I felt ashamed that I mistook him for Satoshi-kun even for a second. He seemed cool at first, but he wasn't as cool as Satoshi-kun after all.
いや、だからバイクが倒れたのはお気の毒と思いますよ。でもですね、どうか機嫌を直されてですね。どうしたら機嫌を直してくださるんですかね。いや、もちろん私たちはお金なんか持ってないんですがね。
おお、そうじゃのう。金がなかったら。金がのうならっしゃー。体で払ってもおっかないっしゃな。こんな、よう見ると結構イケてるもんな。
Ew. Also, what the fuck was that voice from before? What did that voice remind me of? Sounds so familiar.
どうじゃこの後。
Hey, are you kidding me? I tightened my grip on the stun gun in my pocket, and then I turned it up to the maximum intensity. Don't hold a grudge against me if you die, pervs.
おお、俺さ、 一度可愛い子ちゃんはべらせて街のべりたくてさ。おールージェ、もっと着飾ってスカートも見に
Okay,
で。
the indulge in their imaginations, which arouse their spirits. Hey now, why are you perverts closing in on me? Your gross hands are gripping the air. You're gonna try and violate me?
見に。
Alright, alright.
あんたら冗談でしょ。その汚い手で私に触れるな。
Then a flash of light cut through the air. Was that the boy?
このボケナスどもが。
Yeah, there you go. Blows like thunderbolts knocked the punks down. Wow, so he was actually strong after all?
なあ、何しさらすんじゃ。いてこまされたいんか。
お前らは分かっていない。分かっていない。
何がじゃ。
タイトミニには萌えがない。そして肌色面積は控えめに。たとえお天道様が西から登ることがあろうとも、絶対絶対これは萌え業界の鉄則だ。
Good enough. Let's go. Kick their asses, Keiichi.
いいかよく聞け、ど素人ども。
Kick their asses for not even knowing how to do things properly when it comes to being pervs. Teach them how it means to be true perv.
ホモ・サピエンスと動物の違いは何か。
What is it?
そう、衣服の着用だ。つまり人は肌以外の衣服の彩りがあって初めて人なのだ。つまり肌色を求めすぎる貴様らは人以下。
You know, as much as I don't want to take part in this kind of conversation, he is spitting, you know, a little bit. Like, clothes, they do make things quite sexy, not gonna lie.
動物と同じだ。貴様ら全員を強制する。顔食いしばれ。先ほどタイトミニを引き合いに出したな。例えばここに美少女と呼ぶにふさわしい女の子がいたとする。美少女と一言に言ってもその裾野は広すぎる。それについて貴様らに抗議することは寿司山芸者から入った外国人に侍の美学を一から説明するより困難この上極まりない。だからここでは最も普及していると思われる制服系で説明することとする。
Alright.
制服系の御三家といえば何か答えてみろ。
Skirts, socks, ties.
そうだな、制服、体操服、スクール水着だろう。
Oh, you mean the categories. Okay.
なおセーラーかブレザーかの好みの違いは制服にカテゴライズするものとする。もちろんブルマーかスパッツかの違いも同様。スクミズも紺か白かの違いはあるぞ。カテゴリーは同じ扱いだ。どうだ、これだけでも甘美な響きがするであろう。ではお前ら3人がこれらのうちの一つずつが好みであったと仮定しよう。おい不良 A、 お前は制服だ。不良 B、 お前は体操服。そして不良 C はスクミズだ。頭に思い描け。時間は3秒。描けたか。妄想くらい自在にできろ。気合が足りん。やり直せ。
Oh, yeah. You better do it, you delinquents. Come on, do it.
ではお前らの望む美少女がここにいてその衣装を着ているぞ。あると思え、あると信じろ。気合を入れろ。
Hell, you can use Shion as an example in your minds. Like, if you find it hard enough, you can use her as an example.
返事はオスか。さあイエスサーだ。
Say it!
バカ者、それでも軍人か。よーし、描けたようだな。次に進むぞ。それらの萌え衣装と貴様らの馬鹿げた欲情に従いお色気ムンムンなタイトミニスカート姿を見比べてみろ。
Now think! If you take all their clothes off, that's not cosplay anymore, is it?
最近まだ萌えと色気の違いのわからん未熟者が増えているが、実に嘆かわしい。
Humans without clothes are uncivilized. They are animals!
本能でしか女性の魅力を語れない貴様らは犬、猿、キジだ。きびだんごでももらって鬼ヶ島へでも失せろ。 Get back here!
Yeah.
ちなみに最近の東西雪解けに従い、萌えもいろいろな類が大量に上陸しているな。そんなことも知らんのか、愚か者は。
Yeah, get out of here. Go back to your homes and think about your homework. You better think very, very hard tonight.
制服系と金髪を掛け合わせてアニメ系などという酸素と水素が掛け合わされて能登半島可愛いよ大爆発なんて組み合わせが出ているようだが、本館は断じて認めたりはしないぞ。制服は日本の文化だ、芸術だ。和洋折衷はこの世界には存在しない。
Bunch of animals.
貴様ら聞いているのか、軟弱スルメどもが。歯を食いしばれ、今日は徹底的にしごく。貴様らが真の萌え文化を理解できるまで今日は寝られないと思え。はい、指導指導指導。
At that point, I heard a bustle of people running this way.
前原さん、みんな呼んできました。
Ah, there you go. I saw several kids running toward us. Seemed like our backup had arrived.
くそ、
やばいぞ、繋がれ。
The three punks had just been standing there at gape. But they started running away when they saw that many people.
さすが前原さんですね。たった一人であんな怖そうな3人組を釘付けにしちゃうなんて。
Yeah, you taught them well. You taught them how to be true perverts.
3人の一人鼻血出してましたね。前原さん、喧嘩も強いなんてすごいです。尊敬します。
Now this one right over here, this is a true hero.
俺の固有結界もますます磨きがかかったようだな。今に監督の固有結界メイドインヘブンに太刀打ちできるくらいに磨きをかけてやるぜ。と、そんなことはいいや。大丈夫かよ、ミオン。
The boy was apparently called Maebara. He turned around to face me. Even the way he mistook me for Mio sounded like Satoshi-kun. Satoshi-kun isn't a pervert like him.
天下御免のミオンがどんな情け容赦のない必殺技で撃退してみせるか、ちょっと楽しみにして見てたんだぜ。まあさすがに男が3人がかりじゃきつかったってことか。そんなわけないよな。
I was still confused. I couldn't yet grasp the situation. Who was this guy? Even has friends like him? She sure does. Surprisingly enough, I was still spacing out in shock. So I forgot to move until his hand touched my head. Oh.
まあなんだ、半べそ書いてたのは見なかったことにするからさ。まあ元気出せよな。
Man, you know, it is, especially during a time like this where I see Keiichi from a different person's perspective like this, they kind of reinforces how when Keiichi is with the rest of the kids, with the rest of the girls, it's such a lively vibe when he is around. Whereas when you see like the girls like separately away from Keiichi, like when Satoko is being abused, when we've seen like Rika most of the time in chapter 4 with Mion and Shion during these last few parts. But when Keiichi is with us, like it's like everything that has happened to all these girls is just washing away for just a little bit. Rub. Like, it really is interesting how when you look at the first, like, very first moments of Higurashi, when we started Higurashi with everyone having fun, it is kind of hard to imagine that these kids have such traumas, like, outside of these club activities. It's quite something. The boy called Maebara struck my head roughly. It didn't feel good. It hurt, actually. But still, his hand had the same warmth. Later on, Nyon told me about him. He was called Keiichi Maebara. Kei-chan for short. He's one grade below us. Not only that, but he just moved to Hinamizawa. Thanks to his attitude and lack of manners, he'd already become an idol in their class. Mion joyously explained all of this. Sure, he sounded like a fun kid. I knew why Mion was into him, but Satoshi-kun is way cooler. He wasn't worth stealing from sis. What was he? Now, here's the thing. I did mention before about how Shion may have a grudge on Mion for going after a boy like Keiichi when Satoshi is still gone. That Shion would have like some envy, jealousy, like grudge on Mion. But even with that, it kind of makes me question if Shion is actually gonna see something in Keiichi to have some love for him because of Satoshi, or she's not even gonna give a fuck about Keiichi, but still have a grudge on Mion. My heart throbbed. I was excited. Feel like I got a new toy. I was curious as to what kind of relationship Mion intended to build with him. I love to tease her about it.
ありがとう、ケイちゃん。よかったらお礼にお茶でもおごるよ。すぐ近くにおじさんの店があるし、どう?
Satoshi-kun would refuse out of modesty. But Keiichi Maebara said, okay, within 2 seconds. I mean, hey, it's free drinks! Well then, I couldn't wait to tease the two of them. My boring life suddenly became bright again.
おい、腕なんかにしがみつくなよ。
あれ、こういうの嫌いですか？
いや、嫌いじゃないけど、胸が当たって、
Oh?
胸が当たって何ですって？
Keiichi Maebara was fun. Mion fought the same way I did. She would always talk about him. I was happy for her. It made me smile.
お姉はケイちゃんのこと本当に気に入ってますね。ズバリケイちゃんの魅力を一言で示すと何です？そうだね。もしも一言でしか言っちゃいけないなら、やっぱり面白いとこかな。そうそう、この間の部活の時にさ。
Mion really liked him, but didn't seem to think it was love yet. She's reserved in that area, so that was really like her. As for me, well, I didn't hate him, but my feelings weren't the same as Mion's. Kei-chan was just too childish compared to Satoshi-kun. I wondered how Satoshi-kun was doing. Was he waiting for things to cool down somewhere far away? The case had already been solved though. That dopehead was the murderer. There was no reason for him to wait anymore. Yeah, that is true, logically speaking. If we're talking about Satoshi living just so that things will cool down, then she should have come home by now. Heck, if somebody helped Satoshi in running away and pinned the crime on a completely different person, then it kind of makes you question why he would run away in the first place, if that was even a plan.